The World Cup is built on great moments. Zidane toppling Ronaldo in Paris and Materazzi in Berlin. Michael Owen stunning the world as a teenager. Mbappe and Messi going toe-to-toe in the greatest final of all time. Moments that become part of football folklore and remind us why every 4 years this tournament captures the world's imagination.
Another player, it would have been unfair, but when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair.
That was supposed to be today's episode. Ben and I sat down to talk about our favourite World Cup moments. Instead, we found ourselves talking about the 2026 World Cup, and a question that shouldn't have to be asked. Can we trust what we're watching? Trump's intervention before Folarin Balogun's suspension was lifted. Controversial refereeing decisions in the Argentina-Egypt game. VAR seemingly creating more confusion than clarity. A growing feeling that consistency is becoming harder and harder to find. None of these things prove corruption. But football doesn't just rely on integrity. It relies on the belief that integrity exists. Because if fans ever start believing that FIFA has both the means and the willingness to influence outcomes, then every contentious decision becomes another piece of evidence, every mistake becomes another conspiracy, and every great World Cup moment carries an asterisk. So today's episode isn't about our favourite World Cup moments at all. It's about whether the world's greatest tournament can survive if people stop trusting it. This is the Sporting Almanac podcast. So this is an episode about everything and nothing. What do you want to talk about, Ben?
The World Cup.
Oh, that's a good idea. You know, that's on at the moment. You seen any of it?
Yeah, well.
We're recording on the first day for, 3 weeks now where there's not actually any football.
Yeah. An opportune moment for reflection, perhaps.
Yeah, a natural break in the tournament where we can look back, marvel at the fact England is still in it, and look forward to the last 8.
Dream of England winning it.
It's coming home, Ben.
It's becoming increasingly likely that there is some nefarious stuff going on in this World Cup.
Well, there's a good place to start. Nefarious stuff at World Cup.
I think an organisation should be doing as much as possible to dissuade people from even the
notion.
Yeah, even the idea, the image, the perception that there is something going awry. But
yes,
FIFA just don't care, and they don't care, and that fuels speculation that things are being manipulated.
They have literally no reason to care. Why would they care? If they didn't care about bending the rules to let Balogun ban be overturned, then they're not going to care about a perception that a referee might be favouring one team or one player or one player's team or whatever. Because I think you and I will both agree, and people listening will probably agree, many of them, some may disagree, that some of the decisions in the Egypt versus Argentina game...
highly questionable.
Yes, and there was a huge perception during the last World Cup, obviously, and a lot of this is not based on any foundation, and some of it, arguably could be based on some foundation, that FIFA favoured Messi winning the tournament. Not necessarily Messi alone, but the people in charge and the people in charge of Qatar would love to, have ended it by wrapping Messi in a shawl and having him lift the World Cup. And lo and behold.
I think it goes... I think that I agree with that to start with, but I think it just goes back further than people really realise. It's the thing that makes me feel very uncomfortable is when you start piecing things together and there starts to be quite a irresistible inference that there are coincidences, and obviously I acknowledge that you see what you want to see, and especially when you formed a bias. But the seeding thing was a mistake because it immediately, on reflection, gives the immediate impression that you would like those 4 teams to go as far as possible because you have singled them out as the 4 biggest teams that could face each other, and therefore they would be the biggest games if they were to meet in the semi-finals and final.
The reason it stinks, because we've lots of tournaments have seeding, like the Champions League has seeding. A lot of things use coefficients, average of your result over the past few years, whatever it might be. That's fine. It's the fact this has never happened before, and it was fairly 11th hour, wasn't it, that this was decided upon. I just remember being very pleased that England just scraped in as the 4th best team at that point.
It looks as though what they've actually done on reflection is they wanted to expand the World Cup for monetary reasons. And I'm not saying that that's been a complete failure. There have been obviously some wonderful stories like Cape Verde, for example.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they clearly did it for financial rather than sporting reasons, but were astute enough to realise that by doing so, they risked diluting the latter stages if, for whatever reason, there happened to be an upset and the fixtures and the knockout rounds didn't play out as they anticipated. And so their backup plan was to seed the 4 biggest teams in the hope that you would have a degree of protection for them and you would still get an exciting latter end to the tournament. That's where the issue starts.
Yeah.
Then you have Ronaldo getting sent off in the last in the playoffs, wasn't it?
And it wasn't a disputable red card. It wasn't just like has the referee overreacted a bit? That, like a catching someone with an elbow, it's accidental. You shouldn't have had your elbow up. Sure, it's a red card. Fair enough for that. But it was assault. A fairly minor assault, but it was assault. He knew what he was doing. He's been playing the game long enough.
It's a 3-game ban.
It's a 3-game ban. That's it.
It's a 3-game ban.
There's no way of saying he was unlucky. He's never had a red card in his career before. He just happened to catch someone at an unfortunate time. He was obviously upset about it. He's learned his lesson with one match. Let's let him off the other 2. I can sort of forgive that, although it would stink if it was Ronaldo. But it was assault.
Like they knew that it was probably going to be Ronaldo and Messi in their last World Cup, and that red card effectively all but rules them out of it, unless Portugal get out of the groups.
Yeah, and perhaps even beyond. I mean, I know Ronaldo has a lot of power over that team, but let's say Portugal go out and play extremely well without him in those first 2 games. You leave a bit of a question on the table. Now, whether Martinez would have been strong enough to make that decision, I don't know. I have a lot of reservations about him as a manager. How good could Belgium and Portugal have been? But nevertheless.
Yeah, well, I agree. That happens. And then I didn't really think about it like this at the time, but you swing immediately to the opposite end of the pendulum when Canada thumped Qatar. And the Qatari guy breaks Canadian player's leg. Now, I am not leaping to the defence of the challenge. It wasn't a good challenge. He gets a red card appropriately, and therefore is effectively suspended for the remainder of the tournament. But FIFA, because it happens to a Canadian player, it seemed they upgrade that tackle to a 5-game suspension.
Yeah, and it wasn't deliberate, and it wasn't particularly reckless. It was bad enough to warrant a red, and obviously the outcome of it was very bad. It is without doubt a 3-match ban. If you want to punish him a bit more, you've got the opportunity because they've done it before. Suspend a couple of games on top and say, okay, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you go in and break someone else's leg, well, then you're going to get a much longer ban. As a result, we can possibly class this as unfortunate. It's posturing. It's
posturing because it's the home nation. That's what it felt like. And then it like a bit of favouritism. A bone thrown to the Canadians. Now, I'm not accusing the Canadians of anything.
No.
I don't think that they had any influence over that whatsoever, but I do feel like FIFA were setting their stall out to a certain extent. And I think it's just, this is what I mean about piecing things together and like, maybe it is my bias. Maybe I'm blinding myself. Maybe this is all confirmation bias at the end of the day. But
could be.
Messi then goes and stamps down the back of a guy's leg, which
he certainly did.
Could definitely be a red card, but isn't for some reason. In fact, it's not even reviewed, I don't believe, which is quite bizarre because then the very next game, Folarin Balogun, I say the very next round of games, Folarin Balogun is sent off for exactly the same tackle.
I think it's one of those situations where we've mentioned it before. We keep referencing Abu Dhabi 2021. The VAR official or the referee, whoever's made that call for Messi, is probably just in a split second being like,
just don't.
Should I, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. I think people wouldn't like this. I won't do it. With the Balogun, arguably they could have done. They could have done the same thing. They didn't. And then obviously retrospectively, it's happened. What's happened? I mean, with Balogun, I don't blame him.
I don't blame him. I also think it is a red.
I think it's one of those ones. If he got a yellow card, you wouldn't be saying, "Oh, ban him after the fact."
I agree.
The thing that a lot of Americans particularly aren't getting, and I think there's a certain amount of wisdom involved here, or lack of wisdom. I'm not saying they don't understand the laws of football. I'm not saying they don't they haven't got a growing appreciation of football, but they haven't got the experience with the sport to realise that that red card does not get reversed in any division in the world, in the Premier League, anywhere that has an appeal system. That red card is sticking because it wasn't an incorrect decision. It was a harsh interpretation of the laws if you don't believe it was a red card, but it wasn't an incorrect decision. The referee has a lot of scope within the laws of the game to make a decision, and he chose to be applied on the harsher side for that one, as opposed to the messy one where there's a lot of scope for the laws of the game to be applied there, and the VAR official, presumably, if the referee's missed it, has decided to not harshly apply the laws. Leniently apply the laws, that's the word.
Yeah, that's it. It's convenience. And there's no criticism of the official who sent off Balogun. You might think that it was slightly harsh or unfair, but in the sense that Messi wasn't sent off. But I think it was more likely that Messi wasn't sent off because he's Messi and they didn't want him suspended. And there is an undercurrent, as you say, of, I'm not telling you not to send him off. I'm just saying if there's an opportunity not to send him off.
It's so what's the word I'm looking for here? In situations where you have a dictator, shall we say, in a country, in a totalitarian country, historically, there's this concept of sort of doing things to appease the guy in charge without him directly ordering it. Now, this happens a lot in World War II history in terms of the final solution, etc., etc. All that horrible stuff. It's like, did Hitler order it directly, or were his generals just like, oh, he'd like this, I'm going to do this anyway? Sort of like working to the Führer kind of thing, as they described it. This is a tangent we weren't expecting to go down, was it? I think FIFA is a totalitarian dictatorship, and I think exactly the same thing applies.
Yeah, everybody knows systemically we need Messi in the tournament. We need Ronaldo in the tournament.
Yes, exactly.
And so they make decisions that facilitate that.
Yeah, and Gianni's happy as a result.
Yeah, and
That's
that leads us very nicely into the Trump-Gianni episode, because I don't understand if people just aren't familiar with the general concepts of conspiracy and corruption and bribery and things like that. But Donald Trump, by saying I called him up and asked him to review it, admitted corruption.
Yes. Like, he used his position of power to try and influence something which he has no control over.
Yeah. Corruption is the misuse of entrusted power of authority for personal gain.
Exactly. And he was doing it for political gain. He was trying to be like, this'll appease me to the American voters. And it did the opposite, because it's Trump, obviously. Everything he touches turns to shit. But yeah, that's what he did. And
does anybody know do you know what the definition of bribery is, mate? If people want another, if they're not satisfied with a high level corruption, and like obviously the definitions change by jurisdiction from jurisdiction, so take it all with a touch of nuance. But bribery is offering or accepting money, gifts, favors in exchange for illicit advantage, goodwill.
Yeah.
Like, that's bribery. So calling someone up and saying, can you review this for me, please? The
President of the United States is a very powerful person. The head of FIFA is a very powerful person. They are both very powerful and connected, and staying in each other's good books gives them power and connections beyond the scope of their own power and connections. It's a relationship, and they benefit off each other through it.
If we're still not happy, mate, a little bit of cronyism, using a position of authority to grant jobs, contracts, or special favors to friends, regardless of merit.
The thing about this, and I've heard some some American sports commentators or sports, celebrities or whatever that I respect. I respect very highly for their opinions on American football or basketball or ice hockey or baseball. They know those sports. They understand those sports. They've been watching those sports all their lives. The example I'm going to go to is Colin Cowherd, who's a very entertaining guy. I don't agree with everything he says, and he's a lot of bluster and trying to get, clicks and stuff, and he does a good job with that. But he's talking about this as if this was the correct decision, because it wasn't a red card in the first place. FIFA just looked at it and reversed it, and what's so unfair in that? There's been dozens, maybe even hundreds of red cards in World Cups over the past. I don't think hundreds, that's probably over-exaggerating, but dozens of red cards in the past 56 years since this has been a rule, since an automatic one-match ban has been in place. There has never been a player who hasn't served an automatic one-match ban. There may be games on top of that for, particularly violent acts or whatever. No one's ever got away scot-free with it. In the time preceding 1970, when the automatic one-match ban came into play, only one player has ever got a red card or got sent off and then played in the next game. Do you know who that was, Ben?
I only know because you've already told me, so you share the wisdom.
Because we mentioned him on our last episode. I put him in my all-time World Cup team. Garrincha, 1962 semi-final, a horrible match in a horrible World Cup, got himself sent off against Chile, I believe. There was a review after the fact. It wasn't an automatic one-match ban. There was a disciplinary panel. The linesman had advised he be sent off, so he'd gone up to the referee and said, he's punched someone, send him off. Basically, they were winding Garrincha up all day and eventually snapped. It happens. So the disciplinary meeting was held. The referee was expected to be there and the linesman was expected to be there. The linesman never turned up and was later found to have $10,000 that he didn't have before from the Brazilian FA or from someone in Brazil. Weird that.
Very strange.
The referee did turn up, but for some reason was just saying, the linesman said he saw something. I wasn't sure myself and I didn't see anything. So at the disciplinary panel were basically like, there's no evidence then, is there? I guess he's getting away scot-free. He played in the final. Brazil won 3-1. There you go.
Corruption. Is that what you're saying, Jack?
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is this happened once before and it was corrupt as all fucking hell.
This is it.
This is the context, is what I'm saying. Colin Cowherd does not understand or appreciate the context, and many other American
they don't want to.
Commentators too. No, they don't want to, exactly.
Exactly.
This is their corruption.
It's their corruption, exactly. I heard Gianni Infantino trying to justify it by saying that FIFA has an independent disciplinary panel that reviewed it, right?
Oh my God. And they just happened. Sorry, carry on.
No, I think you're probably going to say the same thing. They just happened to decide to only review Balogun's red card, first of all. And if that's the case, why did Donald even call him?
Yeah. What's the point, eh? It's like this independent panel has existed, presumably, for many World Cups. Certainly existed during this World Cup. They've had the opportunity to come to a similar decision on the many other red cards. And there's been quite a few red cards in this World Cup.
Yep.
The many other red cards in this World Cup. And the one this independent panel, quote unquote, happen to reverse is the one just after the President of the United States, the most powerful man in all of the civilian world, has called them up and asked them to do it. The same man they gave a peace prize to, the same warmonger they gave a peace prize to, but a year ago.
The same
man who has a close relationship with the head of FIFA.
The same country to whom they awarded this tournament after the FBI closed their investigation into corruption in FIFA back in the mid 2015 era.
It's our sport. It's our fucking sport, and they are just shitting all over it.
Mate, I just think
I'm just going to embrace the explicit tag for this episode now because I'm so fucking
annoyed.
Angry.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you because at the end of the day, we could stop there, and maybe people thought we were just giving ourselves a run up to that, but it doesn't really stop there. You then have the Egypt game where, having not sent Lionel Messi off for stamping down a guy's calf and Achilles, they pull back a perfectly good Egyptian goal from 100 yards before the goal is scored under the pretense that it was in the same attacking phase. Now, fine. I don't agree with that. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. But if you're going to throw the rule book in my face, then I expect the Argentinian winner to be ruled out for exactly the same tackle on Mo Salah and a pullback by Alexis McAllister in the box. I don't care if you don't think they're fouls. That's not the point. The point is you've set your stall out by disallowing the first goal. So the only reason that you wouldn't apply the same metric to two other infringements is because you don't want to. Because the guy who's the benefactor of it is the guy that your boss wants to see go deep in the tournament. Again, I think the Egyptians are completely justified in their outrage.
Oh, I think they are too. I think the argument that is being made to justify not giving either the tug or the foul on Salah, and I think either one of them could have been given. The argument that's being made is there is a higher threshold for fouls when they are penalties as opposed to not penalties. I can see that is the case. There's nothing in the laws of the game that says that, but I can see why that is something that is applied. And fair enough. I'm far less annoyed about those not being given than I am about that incredible, what would have been the second goal at that point, Egyptian goal that was disallowed. That is one of the best, that would have been the best goal of this World Cup. It was a thing of absolute beauty.
Hassan dusting
and
people.
It got disallowed for a foul that happened 1 yard away from their own touchline. from their own goal line. That is immoral. That is not what anyone signed up to VAR for, as you correctly pointed out many times. No one asked for this.
Yeah, well, I texted you, didn't I, saying like, who asked them to referee games like this? Like, we didn't ask them to pull back like phases of play 20 seconds before goals are scored for very minor infringements. Like, that's not what we asked for.
I am 100% certain if that had been Lionel Messi,
it's not getting disallowed, mate.
and basically making that goal through his pure class and ability, as opposed to, I've forgotten the Egyptian fella's name. I feel bad, but he had an incredible game.
The guy ran down the wing.
Yeah,
Hassan.
Yeah, he was incredible for long periods of that game. If it had been Messi, it wouldn't have been disallowed, and I feel that with my whole heart. Just like I strongly believe, had the exact situation been reversed at Abu Dhabi in 2021,
they'd
have finished under the safety car.
Yeah.
And Verstappen would have still won the race. I am convinced to my bones. I can't prove it. No one can ever prove that.
They can't prove something that never happened.
Yeah, unless they get the participants, pinned down and waterboard them, which I don't recommend.
Yeah. the pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
scandal.
If you want another little piece to this puzzle, and again, maybe it's all just in my mind. Maybe it's all a coincidence. There is an all Argentinian refereeing team for the France versus Morocco quarterfinal, because I presume every single other nationality apart from the French, the Moroccans, and the Argentinians were unavailable.
They just don't help themselves, do they? And that's the problem. Like, clearly, there's two teams on a collision course for the final based on form. Maybe choose an all Australian?
Yeah.
team?
Oh, wouldn't that be convenient? All Japanese?
Chuck in a Kiwi, maybe? Yeah. Spice it up a bit?
You could go anywhere.
South Africans?
Yes. Do you know what I mean? Oh, no, we'll put...
It can't be South Africans, to be fair, because of the Moroccan, but never mind.
Yeah. European... Oh, I guess you can't have France, yeah. Like, you can even have the Americans in there, like...
Canadians.
Yeah, whatever. Like, just
Koreans.
Don't make it the biggest rival to Messi's back-to-back World Cups officiating.
Yeah. And I'm sure they will referee professionally, and I'm sure they'll do a good job. But if there is a contentious decision, and it knocks rants out, people are going to be screaming and moaning about it. You can avoid that situation. But they don't want to avoid the situation because they fucking love clicks.
Yeah, and they don't care.
They love content being created about it, which we're kind of doing right now.
It will be...
Oh, well.
I actually think... yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't mind saying this out loud. I probably am wrong. I'm probably being too sensitive about the whole thing. England have 3 players on yellow cards in the quarterfinals, and they're 2 of our best players. I would hazard a guess one of them's getting banned, at least. And it will be for something trivial where you don't have to book them. It will be... It'll be totting up.
Jude and Deck.
Yeah. And Nico O'Reilly at left back, actually, as well. But Deck and Jude, obviously...
We don't have any other left backs, though.
Bearing in mind that Deck got his yellow card for a tackle inside 50 seconds in Mexico.
It was a yellow. I actually didn't mind that.
In the first minute?
Yeah. It shouldn't matter.
No, it shouldn't matter. Throw your rule book at me, mate, if it's being applied. I know. I went on a rant about this to you over voice note and text, and I'll do it again. Like, I do not buy the rule book argument. If you're not applying the rules, you created your own anarchy. As soon as you depart from the consistency of the application of your own rules, I don't care if you tell me it's in the rules. Your point is null and void. Like, how can you book one player for a tackle inside 50 seconds, but not send another guy off for stamping down an Achilles? They're not even the same seriousness of offence, and you've refereed them completely differently, and people will just roll out this absolutely arbitrary art. Subjectivity, it's in the discretion of the official. It's not. There are rules. Apply them. And your referees should be sufficiently well versed in your policy to apply them consistently at the highest level. And if they're not, then they're not good enough to referee there. And your organization is not a serious organization. I don't have to respect it. I just don't have to listen to you. Like, when you turn around to me and say, under the rules, it's a foul. Yeah, okay. Well, why are the rules being disapplied in every other instance then? Like, it's an absolute nonsense. It's the exact reason that Egypt are outraged. Now, I'm whinging about this through the context of Declan Rice's yellow card because I'm English and I watched that game, but apply it to Egypt, that's why they're angry. Like, don't tell me that you're applying the rules. You're not. You're conveniently choosing to use your discretion and the grey that you've deliberately left there to produce an outcome that you want or that your boss wants. Like, it's really obvious. Now, I'm not saying that they've all sat around the table and say, Messi's definitely winning this World Cup, make it happen. But there is definitely undertones of, we want Ronaldo going deep. We want Messi going deep. We want Argentina to do well. We would like an Mbappe versus Messi final, and like, you can tell this. Like, I had a mate text me the other day, and I think he made such an excellent point, mate. And I know I'm off on one here, so I will stop in a minute. But he texted me something which I thought was really astute observationally, which is, this World Cup, they're not talking about Norway doing well. They're talking about Haaland doing well. They're not talking about Portugal doing well. They're talking about Ronaldo doing well. You know full well that if Egypt had beaten Argentina yesterday, FIFA and the media would be talking about Mohamed Salah doing well, not Egypt.
Yeah.
England are doing well because of Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham, not because England are doing well. And like, this is it. They're marketing.
Lamine Yamal.
It's marketing, mate. Like, and they are, in my view, implicitly or otherwise manufacturing a certain degree of the outcome deliberately.
I just think, as I've said before, that whether it be conscious or unconscious, bias exists. I think it does. And I think referees are in a position where they are rewarded for making certain decisions or making certain people happy. They are all competing to referee a final or a semi-final, a big game that will get them a stepping stone to more big games, more opportunities, higher pay. It's their career. Obviously, they want to do that. They want to achieve, and that's fine. But the refereeing selection panel should be completely independent of FIFA, and it shouldn't depend. People in power being happy with your performance could be for several reasons. You could have impressed with your skills, made the right decisions, controlled the game well, made the big calls when they matter, or you could have been the guy that didn't send Messi off, or the guy that didn't stop Argentina's winning goal from being disallowed, or whatever it might be. And that might be enough to get you a big game in the future. And referees are aware of that. And whether their bias is conscious or unconscious, it can exist. It won't exist with all of them, but it can exist.
But it's being fueled by the people in governance. And the clearest illustration of that was what did Infantino say? I think it was after the Egyptian game or the Cape Verde game? I can't remember. Where he said, I suffered with Argentina, but I was neutral. How were you?
Sure you were, mate.
Yeah, sounds it.
I mean, I'm trying to think, to me, there is no way that we couldn't get to this stage of the World Cup, the quarterfinals, and not have top names still in it. Just was never going to happen. I mean, France don't need any help to get here. You were always going to have Mbappe here. Norway have done fantastically well, but it could have been somewhere else. It could have been Brazil instead, obviously. And then you'd have, Brazil don't have quite the names they used to, but, Neymar's still in the squad.
Yeah, Vinicius Jr., yeah.
Yeah, Morocco barely get a mention because they don't really have a superstar. They have some very, very good players. They don't really have a superstar. Switzerland certainly don't get a mention. Granit Xhaka seems to be their best player, and he's hardly a sexy footballer, although Sunderland and Arsenal fans might disagree.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for Granit, but he's not the mercurial talent that most people tune in to see.
Yeah. We've got to this stage, and we've got some good teams in it, and it was always going to happen because that's the World Cup. You don't have to do anything about it. It will happen. And if Messi had been knocked out by now, we'd have had a Salah through for a start.
Yeah.
Egypt or Switzerland, potentially an African team, or potentially two African teams in the semi-final. Okay, potentially one because Morocco aren't beating France, but there's good stories no matter what happens in football. You do not have to do anything about it. You will always get good stories.
Yeah.
When's there been a boring World Cup?
Like, I think they're doing something about it in the same way that the FIA are doing something about, Formula One when they want to, in the same way that, Manchester City are not on the receiving end of certain charges. And
yeah.
I know it's widespread. It's not unique to international football or the World Cup, but I do think that I never thought I would say, particularly even when we did episodes on it earlier in the year, that it's got more brazen.
Oh, for sure. You know why? It's Trump.
He's empowered it.
Trump, he people realise that you can just deny everything and wait for the news cycle to come around and it'll move on. Like, Donald Trump is the single most corrupt man in the history of American politics. probably up there with people, famous names from other countries that you know them, you love them, you've heard of them. Dictators, young and old, from all over the world. He is up there with the very best. He's certainly the most corrupt man in American political history. The amount of money he's making from betting and on his decisions essentially through the stock market, and he's just doing it brazenly, and he just realizes all he has to do is say something stupid and the whole news cycle will change. I mean, whether he's even making the decisions anymore, I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it? But the fact is that is the world we are in now.
I know.
And FIFA are just embracing it.
It's really hard, like, to sort of stay in love with it. I mean, people listening to us will probably be like, well, why the hell do you keep watching? And I guess it comes all the way back to your point, which is it's our game, not theirs.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And if we all stop watching it, you can make the argument that it'll fix itself, but it's not going to, because people will always watch it. There's always new fans coming up, and there's young people and people who don't have the context and the history who will carry on watching it, like Americans, for example. Bless them. Not all of them, obviously, but that sort of is. I think the only way we fix it, genuinely, is politically. I think the only thing you can do is to make everyone write to their MP in the UK or their representative in the United States, whoever it might be, and they make it clear that this is something they care about deeply, and that it should be the responsibility of a government official to fight for it. And that is the only way you've got any chance of making change, when that becomes so commonplace across Europe and then across America and wherever else it might be, that people get elected to these key positions in America, judgeships and prosecutors particularly, because they're going after FIFA, and people get elected to Parliament because they're going after FIFA. Got a great opportunity in the UK. We're about to have a Prime Minister who genuinely loves football for the first time, possibly, well, not ever, but certainly in many years. I think Keir Starmer liked football, to be fair.
Keir Starmer's a season ticket holder at Arsenal, to be fair. But
yeah, I'm probably being harsh on him. He just doesn't seem like a football fan, whereas Andy Burnham genuinely is a football fan. He's done great things for the sport of football before. Yeah. I'm not a massive... I don't want to come across as a Burnham fanboy, but what he did for the Hillsborough campaign was genuinely good. He was at Anfield for the whatever anniversary it was of the Hillsborough disaster. It would have been about what would have been at that point, 15th maybe, 20th, sometime around there. And he was making his speech, and the Liverpool fans just started chanting for justice, and he just stepped back from the microphone, listened to them, and then went straight back to Parliament and made it happen, made the Hillsborough inquiry happen. A lot of respect for that. 20th anniversary, I think. Yeah,
no, obviously that is, admirable. But I agree with the general sentiment as well, mate. Like the other thing that came to my mind, and the reason you will have seen me smiling as you were talking, is because the other reason that you and I stick at it, even despite these whinges and these moans, and despite the fact that, the revolution that you describe has not yet begun, is because until then, there's always teams like Belgium that will come along and smash a pie in your face and make you look daft. I mean, it is the funniest way anyone has ever gone out of a World Cup of all time, with no exceptions.
The thing about it was, okay, and I keep attributing this, I don't want any American football fans, soccer fans listening to this, I don't want me to think I'm attacking you generally. There's just a certain people in power in America in the sports world who are not football fans. They
don't understand what this game can do to you.
Yeah, they know probably far more than I ever will about the NFL and about Major League Baseball and everything else, but they don't know football like I do and like you do, Ben, and like a lot of our listeners will. It's just not the same. And the fact that the US, these people in the US thought they were going into that game and that they were favourites is incredible to me.
Belgium have got Kevin De Bruyne. I know he's old.
They played Belgium 4 months ago. They played Belgium 4 months ago in a friendly. Ben, do you know what the score was?
Pumped.
5-2. They've had some good results in this tournament, but they were seeded first. They not one of these seeded teams we're talking about, but they got themselves a relatively easy group.
Very easy group.
Don't get me wrong, there's some good teams in it, and they did well. They've done very well. Fair play to them. But they came in with the most staggering amount of overconfidence, and on the back of this scandal where Balogun should never have been playing, and they played him. They had an opportunity. They could have benched him. They could have gone into it as the heroes. They'd have still gone out as heroes because they were always going to lose that game.
I really like you text me and Sam saying they could have said, no to two-tier justice, put him on the bench and gone out as heroes. That would have been great.
Yeah. They could have, Balogun could easily have made the case. I'm not saying footballers have to be political. I'm certainly not saying black footballers have to be political or the children of immigrants, or in his case, someone with birthright citizenship, has to be political. I'm just saying now is a good time to do it, or have someone do it on your behalf, because just 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court of the United States voted 5-4 that four Supreme Court justices, thought that the 14th Amendment, which clearly says if you're born in the United States, you're a United States citizen automatically, 4 of them couldn't read, and decided that someone like Balogun, who is a US citizen by virtue of birthright citizenship, shouldn't be a citizen. And that is the most classic example of two-tier justice you could possibly imagine, and football is minor in comparison to that, and thank God that 5 of them saw sense. Thank God that Roberts, who's in charge of it, saw sense, because he was the swing vote. And it was an opportunity. They didn't take it, whatever political pressure. Maybe they went for the old mantra, don't mix politics and sport. Just pick your best players available to you. I think it backfired on them big time.
Thank God for Romelu Lukaku.
Doing the Trump dance at the end was brilliant. Not going to lie. Best moment of the World Cup so far.
I mean, that's like a washed Belgium team as well, but like, disrespect them at your peril, because they are stacked with like very talented guys that have done it at the highest level. They made World Cup semi-finals, that team. Like, this is the thing. I don't want to badmouth Balogun, because I quite like him. I think he's a good player. He's not as good as, like, pick a random Belgian player, Trossard, for example. Yeah, Trossard is a great example.
Tielemans. Yeah. These are pretty close, if not actually world-class footballers, and they are just like, they are important players. Belgium, obviously, Tielemans is the captain, but they're talking like Arsenal squad player and Aston Villa player, who are good. Obviously, don't get me wrong, but like, we're not talking the best of the best of the best, and they're better than Balogun. I'm sorry,
they're much better.
They are.
There's a reason that we signed Trossard and sold Balogun at Arsenal, and there's a reason one of them's a Premier League champion, and the other one is mixing it up, sort of the top half of Liga.
Yeah,
in a French league that's completely and utterly corrupt because of Qatari money, and there's another whinge.
Yeah,
mate. Look, that to me, if somebody actually needed a soundbite, like, why do we still watch it? It's because every now and again a Belgian will come along. And it's great.
The Pele called this sport the beautiful game, and it doesn't matter who's in charge of FIFA. It doesn't matter who's in charge of the FA or UEFA, or who's stealing all the money in CONCACAF and CONMEBOL or UEFA or anywhere. Like, let's not specify. Everyone's stealing money everywhere. It doesn't matter, because the game is always beautiful. I think this is one of the things I really hate about VAR, particularly. It is infringing on the beautiful game.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Off the pitch stuff I can deal with. I can deal with corruption. I hate it. But, it doesn't stop the spectacle being beautiful. It doesn't stop wonderful goals being scored, big tackles being put in. Seeing the fans react to certain situations, seeing them applaud together in certain situations, like applaud a player who's died, or, a legend of the game or something like that all together, or like Ronaldo getting a round of applause at Old Trafford when he just knocked Manchester United out of the Champions League. He was that good. Yeah. There's only one Ronaldo, Ben. Like, that is the beautiful game, and that will never change. And I think VAR has got to the point where it's impinging on that so much, I would just get rid of the whole thing. I don't think it benefits. I think it's an extra opportunity.
You can have goal line technology and offsides.
Oh, God, yeah. Semi-automated offsides and goal line technology, because it's an absolute. It's either onside or offside. No matter what people say, it is.
Yeah.
And it's either over the line or not over the line.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that, I just don't think we need. And it gives an extra opportunity for those in power to get their own way.
Or if you want to be, like, if people think, oh, well, there's still big decisions that can really influence games, then, like, sure, then you can keep it for red cards and penalties. Like, but it shouldn't.
I would say red cards.
It shouldn't be re-reffing, like, Lisandro Martinez's toe getting stood on.
No. I just think narrow the window of what you use it for considerably, or make it a coach's challenge or something like that, so it limits the effect of it. And I don't even think penalties. I don't think it's even needed for penalties. I would say red cards for certain offences, violent conduct, certainly off the ball incidents that the referee misses. Got no problem with that whatsoever. That's sort of it. And that's the only subjective thing I probably would say, because if someone is trying to hurt an opponent deliberately, they should not remain on the football field.
No, I agree. Yeah, look, I mean, been a weird episode. Been being on some tangent.
It's not what we set out to talk about, really, is it?
But maybe on the nenext one we'll talk about why we actually do love it.
Yeah.
Because we've been promising to do that.
We have been promising to do that, and it comes very naturally to us.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, it's a beautiful game.
It is. All right, let's do that. Let's leave this sort of hiatus of the World Cup episode
Diatribe
here, and the next one will be far more uplifting.
Promise.
Right. Okay. See you in a more positive mood shortly.
See you soon, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. We promise that the next episode will be so horribly positive and sweet, you'll probably have a sugar crash afterwards. Our theme tune is Oh Yeah by Harmony Productions. You can find us on Instagram and Blue Sky at The Sporting Almanac. If today was the bad, next up is the good. And if we find the time, we'll be wrapping up this series with the ugly too. Seems fitting when the World Cup feels like the Wild West right now. Until then, keep your eyes open, your hat low, and whatever you do, don't trust the sheriff. Good night.